All right, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. All right, Shalom. It's the brother Kanak from the Indianapolis camp. I want to start out by giving all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Akakadash, the Honest Apostle Ezra Millstone, the teacher who will. Peace, peace, and safety to the hopeful light pushing this truth week in, week out. Sincerity, charity, and love, and the spirit of Yahweh Shai throughout the four corners of the earth. I just want to go into how prayer is important. You know, to have a prayer life with Yahweh Shai is very, very important. All right, especially in these trying and wicked days that come ahead. We want to be in the spirit of talking and praying to the Lord, man. You know, scriptures tell us to, pray without ceasing. So we're supposed to be in that spirit of always praying and talking to the Lord, man. You know, so I'm gonna start right here. This is 1 Timothy chapter. This is 1 Timothy 2:5. It says, "For there is one power and one mediator between Yahweh and man, the man Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, who gave himself a ransom for all to be testified in due time." All right, so the Lord gave us Yahweh Shai, man. We're supposed to be praying to Yahweh Shai, for he's the mediator. All right, so he's that bridge between us and the heavenly power, man. You know, so we're supposed to be praying to Yahweh Shai, man. You know, and he's gonna talk to the Lord on our behalf. All right, but we have to have that open prayer relationship, man, with the Lord, man. All right, because we can't do this on our own. You know, this devil has been set up to cause hell and mayhem in our lives, man. All right, without Yahweh Shema Shai, we're dust out here, man. This is Matthew chapter 26 and 41. It says, "Watch and pray that you enter not into temptation." All right, so we're supposed to be being circumspect and praying that we enter not into temptation. All right, because in the world that we live in, temptation is all around us, man. You know, the scripture says that the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So there's going to be a lot of temptation in this world. All right, and without praying and fasting, we can fall into that temptation, man. All right, so we have to constantly pray unto our power, man. The spirit is indeed willing, but the flesh is weak. All right. So it says, well, that's it on there. He said, but that's what I'm saying. Our spirit is weak, man. The flesh is weak. That flesh wants you to go off, man. All right, and you have to pray against that flesh on a daily basis. All right, because that flesh will jump up. I mean, you look up, you'll be doing something you don't got no business doing. But if you stay in the spirit of prayer, in the spirit of reading, if you stay on top of your game, you know, you don't really have too much to worry about, man. All right, we're going to jump to the book of James, chapter 5, and verse 16. It says, confess your faults one to another. All right, and this right here, I brought this out because this is why the brotherhood is so important. All right, now you might want to not tell your business to every brother, but you should have a brother that you entrust, you know, with your business, man. You know, really, you shouldn't have no secrets in this truth. You should be an open book. Your life should be an open book, you know, to the brotherhood. You know, but some people have, you know, a special relationship with certain brothers. You know, so you're supposed to confess your faults to one another and pray for one another that you may be healed. All right? So that prayer unto Yahweh Shabbat Shai. All right? We're supposed to be praying for our brothers, praying for our leaders. Pray to the man that's on the line with you, man. All right, we all need prayer. We all are going through something in our lives. You know, some brothers it's out on the it's out in the front, and some brothers, you know, you can't even show that they're going through stuff. You know, but we need to be praying not just for our camp, but for the whole body. You know, that the whole body stays strong. It says the affectional, fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. Right, so you're supposed to be telling them, you know, brothers, what you're going through, you know, so that them brothers can pray pray on your behalf to the Yahweh Shema Shai. And that's what we need, man. We need exceptional prayers, man, from brothers, man. I've seen brothers going through catching hell, man, and send that prayer line up. Guess what, man? The Lord moved in miraculous ways. I've seen this thing for myself, and it's true. So sometimes you might be ashamed of what you did or what's going on, but don't be ashamed, man, to tell your brothers about what you got going on, man. Because those brothers, they're gonna pray for you, man. The true men of the Lord are gonna pray for each other. We're not gonna just dog you out. They might get on you. They might definitely get on you. But be praying for one another. Be praying for yourself. Be praying over your family. Be praying over your household. Be praying when you get in the car. When you leave work, when you come to work. All right, because these spirits are out here, man. All right, and we want to be covered by Yahweh Shema Shai, man. And this is the book of Matthew, chapter 6 and verse 7. It says, "But when you pray, use not vain repetitions, as the heathen do, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking. But not ye therefore like unto them. Your Father knoweth what things you have need of before you ask." All right, so the Lord already knows what we need before we ask, so we don't have to be in that repetition spirit of saying the same thing over and over to Yahweh Shema Shai. All right, because the Lord already knows the needs of our lives. He made us. He knows everything about us. But we do have to ask. It says, "After this manner, therefore, pray ye, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name." So pray unto Yahweh Shema Shai, man, and the Lord will sup with you, man. But the scripture say, "Draw nigh unto me." He says, "Draw nigh unto me, he shall draw nigh unto you." So you want to be drawn unto Yahweh Shema Shai, man. And the way you draw unto him is through prayer, fasting, and reading. So you want to you want to be on top of that, man. All right, you want to be on top of your prayer life, because man, the world is out here trying to the world is out here trying to pull us away from this truth. And without a prayer life, all right, without being trying to remain in the spirit, you might get caught up in that, man. And we don't want to be caught up in that thing, man. All right, I'm going to pull this out real quick. This Matthew 6:19. "Lay not up for yourselves treasures up on earth, which are moth and do rust corrupt, and thieves break through and steal, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, when neither moth nor rust do corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal." All right, and that's their spiritual life, man. All right, we're not chasing out the cars, we're not chasing out the money, we're not chasing out the hoes, we're chasing out the salvation. And our salvation is worth us doing this work. That's our treasures. All right, that's what we're going to be rewarded for. All right, so that's why our mindset in our life needs to be focused upon, man. It says, so where your treasure is, for where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. And our heart and our minds need to be on Yahweh Shema Shai, because the rest of this stuff on this earth is going to be destroyed and dissolved away. But the word is never going to be destroyed and dissolved away. Our salvation is more important than anything else on this earth. So we have to be praying constantly, Hey, so Lord willing, this is edifying to the body. And with that, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash, the one that's our apostle, Ezra Millstone, they teach you real well. Peace, be safe to the hopeful, pushing this truth week in, week out. Sincerity, charity, and love, and the spirit of Yahweh Shai throughout the four corners of the earth. With that, I want to say shalom.